She smiled during the traffic stop. Then officers opened the trunk. It started as a quiet Friday evening on a lonely stretch of Highway 47 outside Savannah, Georgia. The kind of night where the air feels too still, where even the crickets seem to know something's wrong. Officer Darren Holt had been on shift for nearly 9 hours, bored, tired, and seconds away from signing off, when he saw it. A silver Honda Accord drifting slightly between lanes, the left taillight cracked, the tag nearly unreadable under the glare of his headlights. Nothing unusual, nothing dramatic. Just one more traffic stop before the end of the shift. He hit the siren once, 2 short bursts, and the car slowed, coasting to the shoulder. Dashcam footage shows the moment she pulls over. The timestamp reads 10:47 p.m. The woman in the driver's seat keeps both hands on the wheel. When Holt approaches, she rolls the window down halfway and smiles, polite, calm, unnervingly steady. "Evening, ma'am. You aware your taillight's out?" She nods slowly. "I think so, officer. I was meaning to fix it." Her voice is soft, controlled. Something about her tone makes Holt pause. Most people sound nervous during a stop, fumbling for words, talking too fast. But not her. She sounds rehearsed, like she's been preparing for this moment. Behind her, the trunk vibrates softly, a muffled thud that's barely audible over the highway wind. Holt glances toward it, his flashlight beam reflecting off the rear bumper. "You traveling somewhere tonight?" he asks. "Just home," she says. "It's been a long day." Her eyes flick toward the trunk for just a second, quick, but noticeable. Holt's instincts kick in. Years on patrol have taught him the small things always matter more than the big ones. "Mind popping the trunk for me?" he asks casually. Her smile fades for a heartbeat. "Why?" "Routine," he lies. "We've had reports of stolen electronics being moved along this route." She hesitates, then nods. "Sure, if you insist." The trunk latch clicks. The sound cuts through the quiet like a breaking bone. Holt steps back, one hand on his flashlight, the other resting near his holster. The dashcam captures it all. The slow lift of the trunk lid, the faint creak of the hinge, the moment the beam of his flashlight falls inside. He freezes. For nearly 6 seconds, he doesn't move, doesn't speak. His flashlight trembles slightly in his hand. Then he shuts the trunk, turns toward the woman and says, "Ma'am, I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle." She obeys. No argument. No panic. That same strange half-smile spreading across her face. "What's the problem?" she asks. But her tone isn't confusion, it's curiosity. Like she already knows what he saw. Backup is called. The radio chatter grows tense. Officers from nearby units arrive within minutes. The scene, once empty and quiet, is now bathed in red and blue lights, the hum of engines breaking the stillness. The woman, identified later as Evelyn Shaw, age 33, stands at the side of the road, hands behind her back, whispering something under her breath. One of the responding officers, a rookie named Alvarez, swears she said they wouldn't stay quiet. When they reopen the trunk under recorded procedure, the flashlight beams reveal what Holt saw the first time, but it's worse up close. A heavy blanket, soaked dark. Beneath it, the outline of what looks unmistakably human. No ID, no struggle, no sign of a crash or accident. Just a silent, motionless shape surrounded by a faint, metallic smell. Alvarez nearly vomits. The woman watches without flinching. "I told them not to go in there," she says softly. "They just wouldn't listen." Within minutes, she's cuffed, placed in the back of the cruiser. Holt notes in his report later that she smiled the entire ride back. At the station, investigators work quickly. They find multiple driver's licenses in her purse, all with different names, all with her face. No address checks out. Her phone is factory reset. Her fingerprints return no criminal record. By 3 a.m., they finally get a hit from a partial DNA sample in the car, missing person out of Tallahassee, Florida, reported only a week earlier. A man named Eric Dalton, age 42. Last seen at a rest stop off I-10, with a woman who matched Evelyn's description. The story spreads fast. The smiling driver of Savannah. Reporters camp outside the county station. True crime enthusiasts flood social media with theories. Was she a serial killer? A victim of blackmail? Or part of something larger? Detectives don't have answers yet. The body hasn't been fully identified. The evidence doesn't fit a single clean theory. But one fact stops everyone cold. The VIN number on Evelyn's car doesn't belong to her vehicle at all. It's registered to a man who disappeared 3 years ago in Alabama. As the first chapter of the case closes, one officer reviewing the dashcam footage catches something no one noticed before. Just as Evelyn stepped out of the car, before she was cuffed, she looked directly into the camera and smiled, then mouthed something silently. They replayed the clip 10 times before realizing what her lips said. "You'll find more." At 6:15 a.m., the sun crawled up over the Savannah marshes, lighting the police impound lot in a dull gray glow. The silver Honda sat there behind yellow tape, its trunk sealed, its secrets half revealed. Inside the precinct, detectives gathered around a monitor looping the dashcam footage. Over and over again, Evelyn Shaw's calm expression filled the screen. Detective Marcus Danner, a 15-year veteran with a reputation for noticing what others missed, leaned forward, studying her body language. "You see that?" he muttered, pausing the footage at the moment she looked into the lens. "That's not panic. That's pride. Or insanity," said his partner, Detective Riley Graves. She smiled at a dead body like it was a work of art. They both knew something didn't add up. A clean car, no fingerprints besides hers, a body with no ID and no immediate sign of trauma. The only clue, a faint mark around the victim's wrist, like an old restraint, and a scent of chlorine lingering on the upholstery. When the coroner's preliminary report came in at 7:40 a.m., the picture darkened. The body in the trunk was indeed Eric Dalton, the man reported missing in Florida. Cause of death: suffocation. No drugs, no defensive wounds, no blunt trauma. Just a clean, efficient kill. Whoever did it hadn't acted in rage, they'd acted with control. The officers had expected Evelyn to crack under interrogation, but she didn't. Seated in the small, fluorescent-lit room, hands cuffed to the metal table, she looked more like someone waiting for a dinner reservation than facing a murder charge. When Detective Danner walked in, she smiled again. "Do you know why you're here?" he asked. "I assume it's because you opened something that wasn't yours," she said softly. "Whose body is in the trunk, Evelyn?" She tilted her head. "You already know his name. You ran the prints. Then tell me how he got there." Her expression hardened for the first time. "He wasn't supposed to be there anymore." "What do you mean by that?" Evelyn leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. "He promised to disappear." The detectives exchanged uneasy glances through the one-way glass. They'd seen killers who screamed, cried, or denied, but this was different. Evelyn spoke with the detachment of someone describing a dream. As the hours passed, the investigation widened. They tracked her name, Evelyn Shaw, through national databases. It appeared 3 years ago, out of nowhere. Before that, nothing. No birth record, no tax file, no digital footprint. But then something strange. 2 IDs under aliases linked to her face were tied to recent missing person cases in Alabama and South Carolina. In both, the same pattern appeared. Victims vanished after meeting a woman matching Evelyn's description, through online job listings, rental agreements, or cash transactions. Each victim owned property, a car, or assets later transferred or sold under new identities. The theory forming was chilling. Evelyn was a drifter of a new kind, a chameleon criminal who didn't just steal money, she stole lives. By noon, detectives returned to question her again. This time, they brought photos of the other missing victims. Evelyn studied them quietly, tapping her fingers against the table. When her eyes landed on the third photo, a woman in her early 40s named Joanna Myers, she smiled faintly. "She was nice," she murmured. "She taught me how to make tea properly." "So you knew her?" Danner pressed. Evelyn shrugged. "Everyone knows someone." Her evasive calm was maddening. But the investigation didn't stop there. In her car, forensics found more evidence. Traces of bleach under the back seat, 2 sets of car keys that didn't belong to the Honda, and a notebook hidden behind the passenger air vent. The notebook was filled with addresses, dates, and what looked like license plate numbers, each written in careful, looping handwriting. When investigators cross-referenced the plates, they found something disturbing. 3 of them matched vehicles connected to unsolved disappearances spanning 3 states. Meanwhile, in the evidence room, Danner opened a plastic bag containing Evelyn's phone. It had been wiped clean, but the tech team recovered fragments of deleted voice memos. Most were garbled, unintelligible. Except one. Timestamped 2 nights before her arrest, a woman's voice, Evelyn's, spoke calmly into the recorder. "They always say the same thing before it happens. They say they trust me. That's when I know it's almost over." Danner played it again. And again. The more they uncovered, the less they understood. Who was she running from? How long had she been doing this? And what did she mean when she said, "He promised to disappear"? Outside the station, the story had already gone viral. The footage of her smiling during the stop spread across social media, dubbed the calmest killer ever. Comment sections filled with theories. She was a con artist, a cult member, an escaped patient. But to the detectives, this was no performance. Evelyn was deliberate, every word, every look, every silence calculated. At 9:30 p.m., as Danner prepared to leave for the night, a young officer ran up with new information. "Detective," he said, holding a printout. "You're gonna want to see this." It was a property deed, filed 6 months earlier in another name, Laura Kane. The address, an abandoned farmhouse 40 miles outside Savannah. When officers arrived at the property, the scene was straight out of a nightmare. The windows were boarded, the front door chained shut. Inside, they found the remnants of a life lived in hiding: canned food, a mattress on the floor, and a wall covered in newspaper clippings of missing person reports. And in the corner of the room, written in thick red marker, was a single phrase: "Don't open the trunk." The same words were found scribbled on the inside of Evelyn's notebook, underlined twice. Detective Danner stood in the farmhouse doorway, flashlight trembling slightly in his hand. "She's been planning this for years," he whispered. "But planning what?" Graves asked. As they sealed the scene, one of the forensics officers lifted a floorboard near the window. Beneath it was a small box wrapped in cloth. Inside, 3 driver's licenses, all with Evelyn's face, all under different names. And a photograph. A photograph of Evelyn standing beside Eric Dalton, smiling. The timestamp? 2 days before his body was found in the trunk. When investigators brought the photo to her cell, Evelyn didn't deny. She simply smiled and said, "You see? He didn't disappear after all." Then she leaned closer, whispering through the bars, "You should check his car next."